The other thing that's happening besides opening your heart is that we're entering into Mercury retrograde. And I've really been studying this because I've been so suspicious of people that fear fear that. Because I'm thinking this is a natural cycle here. Why is this to be feared? Why are we holding this like oh, this is awful? And I finally found an astrologer, I just ran across it today, who was saying, so many people fear it, but it's really about understanding that it's giving you an opportunity if you just see it that way. And so the best way to navigate Mercury retrograde is to clear your slate, clear your calendar of the unnecessary things that are just causing distraction. And that way, when life is throwing you a curve, you have room to maneuver. And I thought, oh, I loved that. That just made so much sense to me. It just helped to explain, the energy of what that's really all about. And not to be controlled by our fear of it or our concern or our, past experiences, even where that's our interpretation of it. So I just share that with you in case that helps you also to navigate the opening of the heart. Yeah, it can be messy and yeah, it can be hard. And what it does is that in that opening, you are allowing things to come up that are ready to be healed, even if you don't think you're ready to heal them, right? Even if you feel like it's out of my hands. Well, it might be out of your hands, but it's not out of the divine's hands. So let me give you two stories here that kind of show that. One is Marissa, and some of you may have remembered Marissa. She was a team leader for a while and really busy mom, teacher, yoga teacher, everything else. And she was so drawn to what was the Healing Angel Protocol. And I think she struggled a little bit more once we shifted over to the Hollow Bone journey. And I think a couple people did because it is a mindset shift. And there can be some beliefs based around shamanic journeys or what a journey might be. But anyway, she loved the Healing Angel Protocol. And when she was in level 2, that's when she discovered, well, she had two cysts, really. One was in her breast and one was in her ovaries. And so actually, it happened with both times. The doctor first said to her, because she had a history of breast cancer in her family, and the doctor said, given your history, we need to really remove this right away. And she said, well, give me a month. And he's like, give you a month? And she goes, yeah, before you make any decisions on this, just give me a month. And that's when she studied everything in level 2, the healing. Studied, did all the meditations. And on the way to her appointment, she felt this overwhelming energy of Angel Ariel come in. And she just felt so much peace and so much calm with that. And when she went into uh, the doctor had ordered some tests to be run so they could see exactly what they were dealing with because they weren't sure if it was a cyst or a tumor and they didn't know exactly, what. So they were running some tests. So she sat in the waiting room and that's when she felt Angel Ariel come in again. And this time it was like she felt that Angel Ariel just reached inside her, grabbed something and took it out. But she said she had no idea what that was. But she still felt this overwhelming sense of peace. And then she goes in then her name is called for the test. So she goes in for those tests and they're running tests and they're conferring and they're running tests and they're conferring. And then they call in some other doctors and then they're conferring some more. And she's getting really nervous by this time. Like, what is going on here? Well, just a minute. And they're running some more tests and conferring. And finally they go, okay, you can go home now. And she goes, what do you mean I can go home now? And they said, well, we could tell something had been there, but it's not there now. Kind of like May's story about it's shrunk, right? It's shrunk, it's disappeared, whatever. What you're doing is working, right? What the angels and the divine are doing is working for you. And, like Frank Fool's Crow says, can everybody be cured? Well, not necessarily. That's up to Great Spirit, but that belief, that turning it over, that love that you feel, whatever you're ready for, that's the kind of miracle that makes you say, okay, miracles are real and miracles can happen. And they can happen to me and they can happen to everybody, right? And then there's Marie Forrest, which some of you I know have worked with before. And she is quite a remarkable person, has studied practically everything I've ever heard of and more, and just loves to study. She loves to just throw herself into every aspect of, I don't know if you want to call it metaphysical science, but it's so much more than that. Alternative healing, things like that. And so when she started taking the Hollow Bone Journey, she was like, this is really doing something to me. I'm getting so much guidance about how to structure my day. And she was struggling with 30 years of autoimmune disease. And 30 years is a long time to have that. But and be as healthy as she was, but she was still struggling. She said, everything else I've done has touched the symptoms, but they have not really cured the disease. And she said, so the more I studied the Hollow Bone Journey, the more guidance I was getting about how to structure my day, how to eat certain foods, how to take certain herbs, how to, get this much rest, do this kind of energy work on myself, do this kind of exercise, take rest when you need it, work outside when you need it. And just really listen to what my body needed. And she said, as a result of that, my autoimmune disease just eliminated. I don't have the markers for it anymore. I have to be very careful about how I structure my day and make sure I'm still in tune with my body and still in tune with everything that I need. But after 30 years of having that, it's gone. I mean, these are remarkable stories, and the list can go on and on and on and on. And physical healing is definitely a product of the healing that happens after you've opened your heart. You can have physical healing through that, but you can have so much more. I mean, healing isn't just physical. Curing isn't just physical. We have emotional healing, right? Where we might have some places in our body where we're holding onto some stuck energy or stuck emotions or in our energy field, and it creates an imbalance within us, right? Or maybe you have some mental belief systems that have been plaguing you for a long time, and all of a sudden here they're raising their heads again because they haven't been healed at the source of where they started. And that's what Level 2, the healing, is really all about, is healing from the source of where this all began. So as you are moving through Level 2 and you're learning the hot spots of the body and the hot spots of the energy field, and also how to find ones that aren't listed out of the 22 that we have there, you're finding that, oh my gosh, there's so much more to curing, healing, than what we ever thought. Some of our troubles come from our past lives, and they weren't healed there, so we bring them forward, hoping that there's going to be a cure for it in the future. Some of it comes from our ancestors' lives, and so we bring that forward from our DNA because they didn't know what to do with it, and here we are with it. So now we are in a position where we can offer a curing for ourselves in that. And it's not just us, it's our descendants, it's our next incarnation if you don't have descendants. It goes backwards and forwards. So it's like it stops the whole process that is in the DNA so that it doesn't get carried forward. This is what is so beautiful about it, but it only can happen after you've opened your heart. I mean, it's a logical progression. Whatever's ready to be healed will come up. It's not coming up to punish you. It's not coming up to make your life harder. It's coming up because it's so ready to be healed. And if we don't know that, then we'll stuff it back down inside, and then it's going to come up later and it's really going to be ugly. But if we know that, then we can embrace it, we can love it, and we can move on from there. Right. So I just want to really emphasize the role that healing has in this whole system. We open our hearts, and as a result, we need to follow that up with a healing. And the beautiful thing about that, just to give you that bigger picture, is that after you've opened your heart and you are learning how to heal this, whether it's through meditations or your other ways or a combination, then you are ready for that activation of whatever the next step is on your path. Whether it's getting in touch with a deeper sense of yourself, or maybe it's about bringing a product or a project forward that you need and the world needs now, right? You may not know what that is yet. Don't worry about that. That will come to you in the bigger picture form, but allow the healing to happen in the ways that are right for you. And don't fear that. Don't negate it. Don't try to stuff it back inside. Embrace it. It's a gift. Think of it as an opening two, right? Opening one and opening two. That's really what it's giving you. And then the activation really becomes opening three, because you're opening up to a new way of doing or being, whichever one you choose, or whatever one's right for you, for where you are at that moment. And then this cycle just keeps repeating because we're never done. We're never done learning. And as we complete our activation, we rest, and then it starts all over again, opening to a different level, a new idea, a new way of being, something new that's going to take us further and help more people. And after you open, now comes some more healing, because those other things weren't ready to be healed until you reached that level. And after that, now you're ready to activate on a new level, whatever that might be, whether it's a product or a process. Doesn't matter. And then we just keep going higher and higher in consciousness. But the system keeps working. And that's why people who take the classes or listen to the meditations go, I don't remember this at all. Did you really go over this? I mean, what is this about? Because you're now at a different level. That's why it sounds different. You're taking in things you weren't ready to take in. You're going deeper with it into the heart that you weren't ready for before. And you're going higher in consciousness. And you're understanding things that you weren't ready to get before. It's such a beautifully spirit-designed process, system, if you will. It's just amazing to me. So, all right. One of the things that I wanted to approach with level 2 that I don't think we talk about enough is in the classes is the invisible ceilings. And that's my phrase for the underlying thoughts, beliefs, emotions that keep us playing small, that keep us holding ourselves safe. They keep us saying, well, I don't have time for that yet, but later on when I'm not so busy, which is just saying I'm not ready for it. I don't feel ready for it, right? But sometimes those beliefs, if you really dig under the surface, they can be things like, I'm not good enough to do this. I don't trust myself enough to be able to do this. Maybe I've been put to death in a past life. And I know that sounds kind of like, oh, come on, but it's true. This is not our first rodeo. So many of us have been put to death before for just holding the beliefs that we have, or doing herbology, or whatever it is, raising plants in a certain way, or talking to plants, talking to animals. It has happened to us. And if it hasn't been healed, it's going to come back. And the next time we start to do something bigger, something newer, something different, all of that past life fear is going to come up and say, hey, listen, that wasn't pretty the last time you did that. I don't think this is a safe thing to do. Because your brain is trying to keep you safe. So your brain will say, oh, no, you're not ready for this. You really aren't. But really you are, or you wouldn't be getting this information coming across. And it comes across first as a feeling and next as a knowing. So if you're getting that, you are ready. So it's about addressing those invisible ceilings that keep us playing small, because they're the things that keep us from really helping more people. And that's why we're here, right? In our own unique ways. So the beautiful way of addressing invisible ceilings is the same thing that we do all the way through level 2. You allow the divine to come through and love, love, love the things that are needing more love. And when that happens, it's like it shrinks this ball of pain into nothingness without you having to relive anything. I mean, how beautiful is that, right? So how do you find out when you have an invisible ceiling? That's a really valid question. And no matter where we are on our journey, we're going to have these invisible ceilings pop up as we get ready to do something new, do something different, something bigger. I have been running into them for a whole month now, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So I know I'm getting ready to really expand in unique ways. But here's how you know when you are running into an invisible ceiling. You feel like you're so stuck. And nothing is working, and it's just maddening. And you start getting mad, and you get irritated, and that just makes everything worse. You'd start trying to control things more, and that doesn't work. Everything you are trying to do is not working. That's a real clear sign you're running into an invisible ceiling. There can be other ways too. Sugar binges, or Netflix binging to the point where you are staying up half the night and then too exhausted the next day to do anything, right? Avoidance behaviors, resistance behaviors, whatever is your norm with that. If you find yourself overindulging in all kinds of things that are not helping you, you probably are running into an invisible ceiling. So there's a couple of things you could try if that happens, if you notice that happening to yourself. Listen to more guided meditations that will help you to move beyond that. And we've got a bunch. And I'm giving you 2, one tonight and then another one to listen to as well, because I think these are the 2 major ones, and I'll talk about them in a minute. But also, I think just recognizing when you're in that space, stop. Just stop and really go within and ask the question, what am I really resisting here? Because then that just opens up the floodgates and everything will come through for you. You'll know what's going on, you'll know why it's going on, and you'll know what to do differently, which you've already done because you asked that question. So don't be afraid to ask the question. It's not going to hurt worse. It's going to be a relief. It's like ripping the Band-Aid off, and going, oh, thank God. Okay, now can we move on? Because nobody likes to be stuck, right? And nobody likes to be like irritated so much that you're trying to control everything. That doesn't work for anybody. So and another thing, get outside. Get outside, be in nature. Do some energy movement. If you like Qigong, do Qigong. If you like Tai Chi, do that. Do yoga, whatever movement you can. Even walking a labyrinth, a meditation wheel, a medicine wheel, any of those things get you moving and help to clear so that you can see your way forward. And you can help to heal those invisible ceilings. Don't be trapped by them longer than you have to be. They're just showing you where the stuckness is so you can move faster and beyond. But don't fear them. They're just irritating. But we all have them. So we're human. So make your vow that you'll recognize them and you'll be able to move forward.